Hello, my name's Duncan, and welcome to Back Away from the Donkey and Bath Books. And this is Ruby Roundhouse, also known as the Pom and Pommy and Pom Pom. But anyway, she's decided to join me for the beginning of this, as she does for some of them. This will not be a slick video. Promise you, it won't be a slick video. I've got notes in my book here, and I've got books down here, and there's not going to be millions of bits of editing and stuff. But it's a roundup of last month, Filmtastic February, and going into this next month, what I will be doing, sort of reading and stuff. And I just thought it's a bit of a catch-up, basically. So, Filmtastic February. I really enjoyed Filmtastic February this year. I have one video left to drop. Sorry, scratch my ring. One video left to come, which is a video on Joseph Conrad's The Duel and Ridley Scott's The Duelists. This video is a lot of editing, and it is not my normal sort of style of video, but I was playing around with a few ideas, and I wanted to drop it, sort of release it tonight. Actually, I really wanted to drop it yesterday, but the editing is a lot more than I expected, and I could have spent all day today editing and got it out tonight, but I decided to ease up on myself, so hopefully it'll be out on Wednesday, and I'll spend the next couple of days just sort of tweaking the editing. I'll put a picture up here or somewhere and show you what the timeline looks like. It is very well over-edited, and I've done a couple of over-edited videos in Filmtastic February. My one on Film Review Magazine as well, which had a lot of editing in, and we all adhered to Sod's Law, which is the ones that you put the most effort into, less people watch, but that's just one of these things. I do it because I enjoy doing it. But yes, there will be a link at the end of here to the Filmtastic playlist, so you can see all the Filmtastic ones. But I really enjoyed this month. First of all, I want to thank everybody. I did the Filmtastic tag, and there's been lots and lots of people doing it. I've included most of those in this playlist. If I've forgotten anybody, let me know and I'll put you on it. And I've really enjoyed watching people's replies, everybody's different views on films and books that they recommend. And it's been a really nice tag to see it go round. And I purposely have thoroughly enjoyed watching everybody's videos, and people are still doing it, and every now and then I get another notification that somebody else has watched it, so I pop along and have a look at it. But obviously it's going to filter out now that February's almost done, but it's been really fun to see. I hope everybody watched Annie's videos and Roy's videos. Annie obviously created Filmtastic February, and Roy's been sort of a co-host along with me. So yes, I read about 10 books last month. I'm going to have to put Ruby down, because I need to show you stuff in a minute. But let's have a quick look at my list here. I read about 10 books. I'm only going to talk about some of them, because I did reread the first 3 books of David Gerrold's The War Against the Couture. There's 4 books that's published. It's not worth going on to the 4th book as far as I'm concerned, because technically there should be 2 more books following, but he hasn't published anything since 1992. But it's a really good alien invasion series, and the end of book 3 is quite a good place to stop. And also there's less whinging. There's a lot of whinging in book 4. But yeah, I reread those just because I felt like rereading those, so I'm not really going to talk about those. What else was I going to do? I'm going to go back to my Filmtastic videos, because I realised so I did the one on the film review, and I did the Secret Life of Joan da Vinci, which was just a quick one-off one. Don't you growl at people walking by. And I did the John Boorman one, Adventures of a Suburban Boy, which I really enjoyed doing, and I enjoyed reading. It's a really good autobiography. And there was other stuff I was planning on doing that month. I need to put the Ruby down. No, she can stop. She does this thing that, oh, I'll lean back. Look, I'll lean back because I don't want you to put me down. Don't you? That's better. Sorry, this video's a bit all over the place because I went on to what I was reading and then had to go back to Filmtastic. But yeah, as I said, I did the John Boorman book. Let me get my notebook out of the way. Which Adventures of the Suburban Boy, which I highly recommend to read. It is a great book. I was also reading, but I've not finished it, and I was hoping to do a thing on it, was his follow-up one in conclusion. My plan for this is to slowly finish reading it, and I will probably put in the next couple of months do a review of that out. I'm not going to keep it to next year. And one of the other things that I did get for this was Barry Norman's the film critics, his autobiography, which I was going to read, and I've not read it yet, and I'm probably going to read that. I'm not going to save it till next year's Filmtastic, so I will be reading that at some point this year and do something on it. But if we go back, also some of the books that I read this month was Mark Kermode, the film critic. He has 3 books out. Yes, Mark Kermode, 3 books. Hatch a Job, The Good, the Bad and the Multiplex, and It's Only a Movie. So 3 books of his. They're not the longest of books. And if you don't know, Mark Kermode is a film reviewer here over in the UK. He started on Radio 1, ended up on Radio 5, and now doing a podcast. I actually think since he's gone over to the podcast, he's not as good as he was. Does a lot of writing. These books they're a mixed bag. I enjoy his writing, but when he starts ranting, it starts annoying me. Like the first book, it's makes itself more towards the back end of it. Hatchet Job, the book about film critics, he throws some ideas out that I don't agree with. One is the fact that film critics don't affect, if a film critic gives a negative review, doesn't affect sales in box office sales, and I would disagree with that to a degree. But there's some interesting ideas there. His best one, I think, is the first one. It's only a Movie, which is like his history with films, which to me is the better book because it's a more personal story. And the third book, which was Good, the Bad and the Multiplex, talks through stuff about 3D cinema and about how, you know, the lack of film projectionists now and skilled people showing films has made a difference. And it's quite interesting. They're worth a quick read. They're not really sort of wholly in depth. I think he could have, because he's very interesting, he's very knowledgeable. I think they could have been a lot better. But I enjoyed them, and I will probably reread them again. So yeah, I was originally going to do a video for Filmtastic February. I ran out of time because I did a couple of, edit heavy videos. The John Borman one, the film review one, and even the one I'm doing that's going to come out Wednesday about the Duel. I'm hoping this month to do less edit heavy videos, just some normal of me as a talking head. You may find that a bit duller, but I enjoy doing these ones a lot because it's just me speaking off the cuff. So yeah. So if I go back to what else I read this month, it's my favourite book. I read The Martian Child, David Gerald, which I never read before, which is a story of, it's basically almost his autobiographical because he adopted his son in the mid to late 90s, which is the reason he says he's not finished the war against Qatar. And it's about this science fiction writer who adopts a child. As I said, it's almost autobiographical, but this child says he's a Martian, and there's all these little clues and bits that he's a Martian. And it's like a heartwarming little tale of this guy adopting this little boy. But me being a science fiction fan I am, I wish he'd gone into the Martian bit a bit more. But that's just me. But it's enjoyable. It's a little novella. It's not particularly long. So yeah, I read that. And what else have I read? I read The City of Dr. Moreau by J.S. Barnes. I've never read any J.S. Barnes. I know he did a Dracula book, and I really, really enjoyed this. It's done like a series of vignettes. So we move on years, like before and after The Island of Dr. Moreau. And The Island of Dr. Moreau, to me, is my favourite Wells book. And it is quite a disturbing book. I, in fact, might reread it this month because I've not read it for a few years. It is quite a disturbing book when you actually read it and the context of it. But this takes place like before and after, so you get some before and after context. And the first half of the book felt very Lovecraftian and sort of Cthulhu-ish in the way it was like this creeping sort of almost terror coming forward. You lose a bit of that in the second half of the book. I read some reviews after I'd read it that people didn't like the second half, but I really quite enjoyed it. Quite like the way it finished and it rounded itself up. And it was just a really, really enjoyable read. I know he's done some Dracula sort of Bram Stoker pastiches. I did think he got Summer Wells's style quite well off in this. But yeah, that's The Island of Dr. Moreau. And the other one I read, main one, was We Are Legion, We Are Bob, which is the first of the We Are Bob books. And I so wanted to really, really love this book. But I didn't. But I didn't hate it. I enjoyed it. But I wanted to love it a lot more. It sounded exactly my sort of thing. And if you know me, you know I do have issues with modern science fiction, which is why I sometimes struggle with it. But I think the problem I had with this was the dropping in of lots of pop culture references. I hate the term pop culture, but because I read Ready Player One about 3 months ago, and they were whacking me over the head with pop culture references really badly. And I think these ones, as much as they weren't as egregious as the ones done in Ready Player One, I think they just sort of set my teeth on edge. So I think if I come back to it and reread it at some point, I'll probably like it a lot more. Does that make sense? There are ones in the series, but I will go into them, but not for a while. So yeah, that's We Are Legion, We Are Bob. Yeah, my videos are basically going to have a lot less editing, but reading-wise, I am going to read Donovan's Brain, which I've just started, which I'm going to be reading along with Gavin from Genre Books, who's doing this 100 Years of Science Fiction collection, and that is by Kurt Soidmark. Am I saying that right? Probably not saying right. So that's along with Gavin. I'm also, as part of my alternative vision ones, I'm going to start The Wall by Gautam Bhatia, an Indian writer, and this is, I think it's the first in a series of books, but I read somewhere that it almost reads like a fantasy book, so I'm quite intrigued to read this. One of my things for this month is I want to read a bit slower. I felt I was quite pressured last month. I think it's because of the amount of work involved in the videos. And I just felt sort of pressured and reading, and I just want to relax a bit. So if I read a lot less this month, that'll be great. But also, if you know the way I read, me doing TBRs is normally quite dangerous because I get random and decide to read something totally different. But there also is an event by Alan Reeds, and it's about railways, about stories on railways. And I thought this would be an excuse to read mysterious railway stories. I picked this up because of the Bruce Pennington cover, and also I have a thing for lots of anthologies published late 70s, early 80s, normally by Octopus Books or subsidiaries of a lot of science fiction ones. And these nice hardback books. This is a large print one because it's the only one you can get hold of. And weirdly, I think for those with visual impairments it would be harder because as much as large print, the line spacing is terrible. It's really close together. So much so I might physically have to put a piece of paper underneath it. But anyway, story-wise in here, to go with the train theme, we have, and I have not read any of them. We've got the 4:15 Express, Amelia Edwards, Charles Dickens. My Adventures in the Flying Scotsman by Eden Philpotts. Don't even know who that is. The Lost Special, Arthur Conan Doyle. The Tragedy on the London Mid-Northern, Victor Whitchurch. Don't know. Cloudbursters, Francis Lynn. Ghost Train, Arnold Ridley. The Girl in the Train, Agatha Christie. The Fisherman Special, Hal Thompson. Swamp Train, Harry Walton. The Level Crossing, Freeman Willis Croft. The Man on the B-17, August Derleth. The Hellbound Train, Robert Bloch, which I think is quite a famous story, but for some reason I've never read it. The Last Train by Frederick Brown. It's about 400 pages. Technically it's down as 400 pages with this print. So yeah, this was published 86. But I'll show you the page there. Nice bit of sun damage on the side there. So yes, so I thought I'd pick that one up as well as the other books that I'm definitely going to be reading. There will probably be some randomness this month as well, as there always is with my reading, because I sort of go off on things. So I may read Morrow again. It all depends how quick. And I think that was the main things I wanted to say. Let me just check. Check my notebook. We've gone Filmtastic February. I said thank you again for everybody doing this tag video. I said I really enjoyed it. Looking forward to next year. And his event next year as well. March on the Rails, the event is called. I am all over the place in this video. I am all over the place. But yes, all over the place in this video. Hopefully I've not buggered up the sound by putting the book in front of the microphone there. So if the sound does a weird bit, that's why. But yes, that's sort of how everything's went, how everything's going. I said, keep an eye out for my duelists video, which was coming out hopefully Wednesday. I said it said got a bit overthink the last of the Filmtastic February stuff, and I'm just going to go into March and just relax through March. My main thing, just relax my reading and more videos. I've got some plans for some sort of more complex videos later in the year and stuff, but anything I'm going to do this month is probably just going to be talking heads, or talking rubies. Anyway, I will speak to you all very soon, and I'd love to hear from you below if you've got anything to say, or pop up to the Discord. It's all quite quiet up there at the moment because I think everybody's had a tough month. And bye for now.